Any reaction to Leader Thune seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I am deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think I'm told I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So do you think he may veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see. I was standing there with the Crown Prince.
Are you frustrated in the majority leader? Are you upset with the majority leader?
Yeah, I think he's frustrated, actually. He's giving off that angry little leprechaun. Like he's like a leprechaun that was like trying to trick you out of your gold, but then like you figured out the answer to the riddle and oh no, he's mad and he's gonna go squat under a mushroom and stew for a little bit. Yeah, no, Mike Johnson's not happy about that. And it's weird. I don't understand why he's not happy because he voted for the documents to be released yesterday. He's on board. Okay, he's not trying to cover it up. He didn't wait months to see a new member of Congress specifically to stop this from going forward. No, he wanted it. And Trump obviously is on board. I mean, Trump told them all to vote. That's what freed up so many of them to do so. It's not that they both glommed on at the last second to something that was gonna pass without them and it was gonna make them look like a bunch of dinks. And so they wanna be a part of it and seem like it's their victory too. And yet they got what they wanted and the vote went through almost unanimously. Almost, we'll return to that. And yet he's so mad. And in that question, you got why. So Mike Johnson thought he was clever. He's like, okay, we're gonna pass this House thing, but don't even worry about that, it's no big deal because then it's gonna go to the Senate and I'm gonna get the Senate to just consider a bunch of amendments or whatever. Just something that would make their version of the bill different than our version of the bill, which would mean that even once they pass that, if that were to happen, it's not done, it doesn't go before Trump, then it has to come back here. And now, oh boy, we can start to quibble over amendments, we can slow this thing down, I can have control once again. Oopsie doopsie, that's not actually how it worked. Instead, the Senate just took up the same version and then passed it. And now it's gonna go to Trump. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. That doesn't mean that they're just going to allow this to happen. Again, neither Mike Johnson nor Donald Trump want any of these documents to come out. They are trying to cover up for this thing, but I do love that at least this version of the cover up didn't actually work. And so I'm gonna give you just a little bit more of Mike Johnson and then we'll discuss the failure of his plot here.
The discharge petition could create new victims, okay? Because it requires the DOJ to release information even in cases where the DOJ or the FBI has already reviewed it and determined it is not credible, it is false information. Doing this and requiring this to come out could ruin the reputations of completely innocent people, such as those who have may just have known Epstein but knew nothing of his crimes or whose names he exploited. Think of this, innocent people whose names he exploited and used to try to get close to his intended victims. Their names may be in these files and they had nothing to do with this. And so by just haphazardly releasing it, you're gonna destroy their reputations. Releasing information containing the names of innocent people would subject those innocent people to a guilt by association. It would create an entirely new group of victims who have no means to clear their names. That's a concern of Congress and it should be.
That's what he's concerned about, Sharon. He's just concerned about think of those innocent people. Here, let me turn this around on you, little leprechaun. Why don't you think about the innocent people that were sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and potentially other people? Could you spare 2 seconds of thought for those innocent people? No. Those innocent people aren't big donors or anything. No, there's innocent people. I don't know who. I mean, maybe they're well connected. Maybe they're donors to Donald Trump, the Republicans. Who knows, or to the Democrats as well. I don't know. I definitely don't know. I'm just worried about innocent guilt by association. How about this? How about before we spare another year of time worrying about potential hypothetical guilt by association, how about we start to have some actual guilt by decades of association? You know, the billionaires like Donald Trump who were best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, who knew what he was up to. All these people that up till right now, including you who've been covering for him. That's the association. I'd like to see some guilt finally, at long last, Sharon. So again, we're not done with this thing. There's still a lot of steps. I'll discuss those, but what do you make of the vote?
Okay, the vote, beautiful. They ripped the rug right from under him. And usually Mike Johnson, he lies and he's so flawless in the execution of it. He struggled with this one. And by the way, his Republican colleagues looked constipated behind him. They did not want to be there because he sounded like a fool. But the footage that you showed of him running up the stairs being asked, "Are you disappointed?" His face this was so beautiful. It was like Jeopardy is on around the kitchen table at my house. So my mom and sister were always way ahead of the game. They knew every answer. I didn't. And then Wheel of Fortune would come on. And I actually had a chance until my sister called it the answer. And then that's what my face would look like. I'd be so disappointed. He was so disappointed. That's as many words as you want to break it into. Look at this. And because he knows he's got to go to the principal's office. And Donald Trump is furious. You told me that whole delay thing that you laid out beautifully, John, was this is what we're going to do. Then it'll be Christmas, blah, blah. And now look, it's wonderful. Thank you. The victims have been waiting long enough.
Yeah, there's a couple wonderful things here. So one is a wonderful side of a silver lining of the Democratic collapse on the shutdown. Again, there's very real consequences of that. And those don't go away. But we're getting all of this because they collapse. So I guess there's at least that silver lining. And the other is, I just love the image of you and your family sitting around the dining room table watching. I really like Jeopardy. I never remember to watch it, but when I do, I love it.
Do you know the
me
answers?
And you got to do some Jeopardy.
My sister, my mom, they knew all the answers. And I just, I didn't really pay attention.
I mean, I'm not
smart, but.
Yeah, I'm sure you're underselling yourself, but I enjoyed trying. It was always fun. But anyway, so before we move on to the one no vote, I just want to acknowledge something. Like, you already know that Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are being super fake about this entire thing. They did not want this to pass. I mean, that's why he's so angry that it's passing. But I just want to remind everyone, just in case, of the added layers of how fake they're being. So what just happened yesterday? Mike Johnson voted for the discharge petition, and a bunch of Republicans voted for the discharge petition because Donald Trump told them to. So Mike Johnson and Donald Trump want the discharge petition to be passed. But I want you to remember what's happening right here. Why is it a discharge petition? It is only a discharge petition because that is the only way to get a vote on it that Mike Johnson can't unilaterally kill. So Mike Johnson's like, yeah, let's do the discharge petition. Dude, you wouldn't even need a discharge petition if you hadn't been blocking it for months. It would have just been normal legislation. So you are a fake. And then Donald Trump's like, yeah, you know what? I want transparency. So I think they should do this discharge petition. The only reason the discharge petition is needed is to get the DOJ to release documents you've been stopping them from releasing. If you wanted the documents to get out, we wouldn't need this legislation. You just release the documents. You could do it this morning. You could have done it yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago. You could have done it at any point. So both of you are being utterly fake. The mere existence of this maneuver in the first place is only there because both of you have been doing everything you can in comically inept fashion to cover up for the crimes of one of the most notorious sexual predators in American history. And please, nobody ever forget that. Trump's a fake, and Mike Johnson's a fake, and basically all those Republicans that voted for this thing but weren't signatories to the discharge petition before this weekend are fakes. They never actually wanted it. They certainly weren't going to expend any political capital on it. If you want to, you can give some credit to Marjorie Greene, to Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace. And yes, I feel a little bit gross having said the sentence that I just finished saying, but at least they were going to do it when it was difficult and potentially costly to do it. Donald Trump did not want them to do it. He dragged Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room, treating the release of the Epstein files as like an issue of national security on the level of the war in Iraq, of taking out bin Laden. He clearly thinks that that's serious, and Lauren Boebert, to her credit, and only in this area, still signed on to it after that. All the rest of them are goddamn fakes, and please, nobody ever forget that. Now, there's one person who isn't even one of those fakes. Clay Higgins voted no. He's the only one. Clay Higgins, no vote on releasing the document, even though he knew it was going to happen. He wanted to go down in history as the one guy who would say at this late date, no, over my dead body. So he voted no. Now, he called it a principled no. We're going to have to agree to disagree about that. But he says the reason is it abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America, which, by the way, if that really bothers you, You might want to take a look at Donald Trump because he's abandoning quite a bit of criminal justice procedure in a lot of different areas. But he says it's going to reveal a bunch of stuff that's going to hurt innocent people, blah, 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 all the stuff that Mike Johnson has been saying. And to be clear, no, it doesn't. First of all, this was written in consultation with some of the lawyers representing the victims. They are actually concerned about information of truly innocent people coming out. And so they are already ready to protect those people. And also, and this is a bit of a fly in the ointment, bear in mind, Pam Bondi is gonna redact the living hell out of this thing. There's just gonna be sheets of just pitch black paper coming out. That's what it's gonna be. We are gonna be lucky to get almost anything here. The idea that a bunch of true innocents are gonna be caught in the crossfire is just fake. Clay Higgins does not actually believe that. He is lying. And he was even fact checked in the community notes on Twitter when he was talking about his principled no or whatever. And so he's, I think, very justifiably being attacked about that. And I think, again, like if he is remembered historically in any way, and I don't think he necessarily should be, it should be for this. But that said, I want to add one extra wrinkle to this that I had not been familiar with. Thank you to my producers for finding this and Mother Jones for reporting it. But he apparently was buddies with a guy who was convicted of incest after a teenage relative accused him of sexually assaulting her between the ages of 14 and 18. So incest is just the beginning of the crimes of this guy. Now you might think, well, that's guilt by association. Well, but is it? Is it unfair to tie these two together? Leon Boudreaux is the guy that did these crimes. Clay Higgins has been a member of the motorcycle group dubbed the Kindred Vets that Leon Boudreaux founded. And the two are apparently close. They appear together in numerous photos posted to one of Higgins's Facebook pages. And they're also pictured together in photos posted by the Kindred Vets in 2022 and 2023. Okay, a year earlier, Boudreaux was convicted of incestual sexual assault, apparently spending years sexually assaulting a relative kid of his. Boudreaux confirmed that he's a longtime friend of Higgins, that he rides motorcycles with him. He said that Higgins was aware of the charges that had been brought against him. Quote, back when all that happened, he did call me. He called to check on me, but we don't really talk about that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know, years of sexual assault, that can really ruin a nice, fun ride in the hills with your buddies. But that is him saying Clay Higgins, and look, I guess it's him saying it. Clay Higgins hasn't confirmed it or whatever. But Clay Higgins finds out that his buddy, that he knows from a motorcycle group, has been sexually assaulting a relative of his for 4 years, and he calls to check on the predator. And then, what do you know? He wants to protect other predators too. So he is at least consistent on this, Sharon. What do you think?
My God, if this soap opera, okay, that's right for a soap opera, and just hand them everything you just said. This is stunning, except I guess the afternoon soaps don't too much get into incest. This is disgusting. I can tell you that Higgins is, relatives, probably a great grandson or daughter, will change their name. They're going to change their name. No one wants to say, yeah, my great granddad was in Congress and he was the only one that voted not to release the Epstein files. Sicko behavior. And by the way, I'm with never thought I'd say it like this, but the incest guy, he's telling the truth, Johnny. He has nothing else to hide. Everything's out there, okay?
Yeah.
They've known each other. Higgins knew about the abuse, and they rode off into the sunset together often. Sicko behavior.
Totally sick. Like, it's not even like it's hearsay. You've known the guy for decades, and then there's unsubstantiated reports or whatever. It's like, you're just in a motorcycle club with him, man. You can throw him under the Harley at this point. Like, you don't have to. Jesus, I rode motorcycles. I understand that there's like a bit of a camaraderie to that or whatever, but I think it ends where the incest begins, at least for me. Maybe that's just East Coast sensibilities. I don't know.